The Mayo Experience.
That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience Century Tournament of Champions Picks Preview. We got some first round later because we're doing this later in the week. No one and done. That's going to start out next week. So if you want to get into a draw to get a free entry to the Gups Corner one and done, all you need to do is share this show around and reply with the hashtag GUP1. Now that could be on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter mainly is probably where you're going to see it. If you quote tweet that shit, you're immediately disqualified. So it has to be a retweet and then a reply. But also, if you go to gupscorner.com right now, go register for the one and done. I think we're around like 2,000 spots right now. It's only single entry this year as well. So no 3 max, anything like that. You just get the one entry. So you retweet, you reply with the hashtag GUP1. You'll be in a draw for one of 2 free entries that I have. But you want to sign up right now to get your spot so you don't miss out because the registration is finalized on Sunday. And then just wait and see if you win. And then if you don't win, then you can pay. It's that easy. So go register for the Gups one and done right now. I'm in it. Geoff Fienberg is in it. Everyone, Cust is in it. I think Cust actually did well last year, Geoff.
Probably did better than us.
Yeah.
Woo!
Woo!
Let's go. I'm fired up. I am historically bad at a lot of things, but the one and done might be as my nut low.
Not low, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm not good at it either.
I overthink it. People thank us at the end of the year that made money, and I'm like, that's way over my head. And the one and done aspect of it, I don't think, at least to myself, we ever follow the strategy that we offered to the people.
Take the good players.
Just take the good players. The year will come, you'll be in the FedEx Cup playoffs. To any newbie, you're not going to run out of players. Guys that you don't think that you'll have any interest in today will be someone you will covet in 4 months from now. It's just how it works. You don't need to, you don't need to overthink it. Someone showed me a picture. They're on an airplane, like picking the whole schedule. I'm like, dude, you are nuts, bro.
Yeah, what happens when Justin Thomas gets injured in March, but you haven't pegged for a thing at the end of March? You're like, well, now I don't want to use that guy. Now my whole season is out of whack.
We worked with a guy that literally would do that with Survivor football.
Yeah, and made it past week 2 once. So
I rarely make it past week anything, so I can't throw shade at anybody. But I don't believe in that either. But yeah, just roll your big guns. Sure, you want to save. You could have a guy, a super elite in mind for each major that you're like maybe setting up for. But outside of that, fire away. That's my advice. Fire away.
Well, we got the new golf season, which means we have giveaways for all the people. And if you're wondering about the scheduling, at least through the end of the football playoffs, Monday and Tuesday is going to be golf and golf. Thursday and Wednesday is going to be the show that Tim, Jeff, and I do for the spread picks. I believe Thursday is going to be MMA. Friday will be DraftKings picks. I think that's how the schedule is going to end up working. This week's a bit off because of New Year's. New Year's and Christmas following on a Wednesday just really threw content completely out of whack. So if you were in the draw for any of the giveaways before, the winners will be announced on Wednesday's show this week. Now, normally they'll be announced on Monday's show, but if you do want to get into a draw for, let's say, $20 DK dollars, what you do, smash the like button for the episode, leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section. Tell me who you think is going to win Player of the Year on the PGA Tour. But if you want to get into a draw for, let's say, $100 DK dollars, leave an audio review. It's a brand new golf season, so we need more people to watch this show. And the best way to do that is to leave a review for the audio podcast. So subscribe to the audio podcast, leave a 5-star review, DraftKings handle, and something that you like about this show, and you'll be in a draw for $100 DraftKings dollars, Jeff. You ever left an audio review for the show? I'm going to say no.
No.
Thanks.
Audio review? No.
So you should be subscribing to the audio podcast.
I do subscribe.
Do you auto?
I subscribe to everything.
Do you auto download it?
Everything.
All right, so we're getting
everything.
We're getting
the
numbers.
RSS feed, everything. I'm committed to.
You're subscribed to the RSS feed? Are you really?
I am. You could check it. Or how it all works.
Did you got it all figured?
Listen, my terminology might be on a Tim level,
you sound like
but
Tim.
I am subscribed on everywhere I'm required to subscribe, except Apple because I don't have it.
So you should have Apple. Makes things way easier for me. Easier to leave the reviews as well. Other things that we can get into here, the other shows that we've done, we did a complete preview of the season, all the majors, player of the year, all that stuff. You can find that in the description of this video or podcast. You can also find the 2-part series that we did with our player draft, where it's basically just a vehicle, because people were like really upset about the rules of it, and they were mad about that we had a computer generator number. Like, that team's not going to win. It was a fucking gimmick so we could talk about the players. Do people not realize that? Or are people like down here and like this is going over here?
We're here, and yeah, it was better than we normally do, like a 10-player.
Yeah, this was way more fun.
Are excited for. That allowed us to talk about exponentially more players and get the other guys involved. Good times.
Yeah, no, so go check out all of 3 of those shows. They're in the description of the podcast and video. FantasyNational.com, Jeff.
It's time.
It's time to get back in the game.
It's time.
DraftKings is up and running. All daily fantasy sites are available. We got some wagering to happen. You can have all the stats, all the tools. Although this tournament is
the tiny fields are kind of
tough.
Whatever, but hey, it's 2020 by the time we rock this thing, and it's even I'm fired up for the Sony one and done gets going, but full field time to Friday sweat cut. Sweat.
Yeah, and where this tournament actually has shot tracker, which is nice because we've gone like 8 tournaments without it. I mean, Fantasy National comes in handy if you want to start live betting and or playing those like Friday matchups, Saturday matchups. Besides like the lineup generator to the simulator and access to all the stats, FantasyNational.com has the live leaderboard with the strokes gained data, which is something you really want to pounce on if you want to do the in-play action. What else do we got here? The other shows, Gups one and done. Oh yeah, Listeners League, it's back. If you hit the description of this video or podcast, you can play in the Listeners League. $15 to play, 3 max entry. Same one that I had last year, same one as I had for football. I'll have one for football, which you can find on the football shows this week. Both very small tournaments. DraftKings is very pensive, Jeff, about golf.
They continue to
tip your toe into the water. 1,000 spots, so it's going to fill up in like 20 minutes.
They continue to take baby steps, but the people continue to respond at every corner.
Well, when you have a tournament that's no rake, that's probably a tournament you should play in.
Even when they played this second time dropping the nut low, but they got talked into playing these nut low Europe events. Like in December.
Because there was demand.
Yeah. At the time, there was the PGA was in, or there was some heavy Australian events, but there was some real like low tier European events. People were pissed there weren't enough contests.
Well, you got a contest for golf, the Pat Mayo Experience Open, along with all the regular ones that you have. But this one, again, 3 max entry, $15. I'm trying to set it up for the year here in case we have new viewers. That's why I'm taking so long to actually get into it.
I love it.
DFS Open.
I max every week in that one.
Yeah, that one's great. No rake. Not everyone gets paid. I rarely get paid, but the listeners, they get paid. And if we fill it up super quickly, it'll go from like 1,000 to 5,000 next week. So pay attention to that.
I guess while we're doing a mini intro, we put it out there that at no point have I ever put anything out in doing a podcast in trying to alter ownership or a betting number of any player on the planet.
Do people think that you do that?
I don't know.
You legit play like $50 worth of DraftKings.
It's the weirdest sort of like hit back that like we get when we're, I don't know. It's almost like a compliment maybe when we're struggling and that like we're just trying to bait people into these players and then rostering entirely different players.
Well, the funny thing is normally when you and I record on a Monday, the DraftKings pricing isn't even out yet. So what are we supposed to be doing here? Guessing not only... people give us way too much credit for being sharp. We're not. We're kind of like just guessing at this. So that means we would have to be able to project out the DraftKings pricing, project out ownership before the pricing comes out, which would mean you'd have to have a grasp on everybody, and then swaying people towards bad picks. And then why would I just use the picks to make myself money?
There's 2 parts of this. I think the people that know us from a while back from doing the show in like a closet like understand where we come from and what we are, but someone who just catches in and sees a fancy brick wall behind us.
There is no brick. You can't even see the brick.
They might have different expectations of what's to be brought. Yeah. But I don't know.
Anytime you can see Monopoly game pieces on the wall, you know that show is legit. Very serious show when it comes down to it. The major previews, I don't want to really recap it, but I did play 2 all 4 major parlays just for fun. They pay $1,000,000 to 1. So if people want to get on that,
what's the biggest odd?
I swapped out. Remember we bet Sung Jae Im 125-1 to win the PGA Championship?
Yeah.
He's 66-1 now.
There it is.
So I swapped him and Henrik Stenson in and out of the two parlays. The other three legs are the same, and those two swap out. So 66-1 is the largest. But I have Justin Thomas to win the Masters, Tiger to win the British Open, Tommy Fleetwood to win the U.S. Open, and then one with Stenson, one with Im to win the PGA Championship. I look forward to none of those winning. However, I did a $3 bet to win $3 million because I thought that was fun. But I each weighed them all. So if all four of those guys finish top 5 at their respective majors, it's still like $33,000. So I'm very excited. I'm already spending the money.
Listen, you're allowing the book to have 9 of your dollars.
It's actually 12 of my dollars.
12 of your dollars for 6 months? Get out of here.
They got a lot more of that.
Yeah.
With all the futures that we ended up making. They're fun. I want to do something.
Yeah, listen, I'm here. I'll make those numbers. I'm confident, and most of them being better than where they'll be. And as you mentioned, Sung Jae's already crushed, and when Victor's even available again, it'll be cut in half.
This is true. So you can check out all of our futures up on that show. We gave them all out, so go watch it. All right. DFS Open. It is organized by Ryan Baroff, so shout out to him. And Joe, shout out to him as well. We're going to play golf in Florida. Wiley and I are playing together, so go subscribe to the Golflandia podcast as well if you want another fun but completely different version of this show. It's probably the best way I would describe Golflandia.
Yeah. They're like,
Wiley is less jokey than us.
less jokey.
But they're having fun.
They're always having fun, but they will attempt to like go hard copy on a couple like issues that, you know, the weekly golf grind pops up.
Yeah.
Whether it be like real things that are happening on like the course or just sort of making fun of the community at large.
And
which is easy to do.
I always get like I always enjoy the intro with Wiley because, you know, he's a marketing guy. I like to hear what he has to say about branding and stuff like that. That's big in the Pat Mayo world. As you can see with my woo, ordered this off the Ric Flair shop. My child has a bib that's exactly the same one.
Into it.
I'm big. I see Woo Kim rebound here. I should have just bet him to win all 4 majors because he needs to win 1 to avoid military service. So you got to feel like this is the year for Siwoo.
And you need Golflandia for the double seasons.
Yes, if you want
double
Euro,
seasons are back. Well, coming back soon.
Well, we're gonna have some like big names over there as well. A lot of the guys that aren't here will be playing overseas, and Phil's going over. He's not here. Brooks is gonna go over. He's not here. Bryson will be over there, although he did not qualify for this tournament. But shout out to everyone who put in bids for charity to auction off. I did mention that it was probably the worst investment you could ever make, and then someone's like, "You think that charity is a bad investment?" I'm like, go fuck yourself. Not what I meant. But thank you for being way too literal with everything. You can donate to charity whenever you want. I recommend that people do it all the time.
There like,
you're paying money to go play golf with Wiley and I.
With me, like,
and I'm bad.
Yeah.
So your team's gonna suck because you're on my team. Wiley at least looks like he's good. I have no idea if he's good or not. He claims to be like a 30 handicap, which I very much doubt.
That's impossible.
That's lies.
Because I'm like a 17 and I suck.
And
he looks like he's
20.
Way...
I'm a 20. I'm like, oh, so you and I are about the same.
And
Wiley looks good.
Yeah, he looks like he's got a mat in his backyard. We're not gonna touch a club until we get to Florida.
This is true.
It's okay. I'll be fine.
We're gonna have the DraftKings pick show as well. That will come out on Wednesday. So New Year's Day, bright and early. Rick Gaiman will be on the show. And get to hear about Rick?
Yeah, big news. Big things.
Big things with Rick now hosting a podcast on CBS Sports. That's awesome.
That's a step ahead. That's a step ahead. That's mainstream. That's why you can have your Avi as a headshot and a tie as opposed to a Simpsons character or a false idol like myself.
You start out as a guest on this show, doing your own thing. You come on, people watch the show and say, you know what, that host, he's not so good. You know who I like? That guest. Let's hire him. And I love it. And Rick is still scumming down and coming on the show.
Oh, well,
so shout out to Rick. He didn't big time me at all. So I really do appreciate that. No, I couldn't be more happy. That's so awesome that like people from the community are now getting everyone's leveling up a bit now that now that gambling is becoming legalized, now that DraftKings is an official partner with the PGA Tour, that
it's a thing.
people from our community now get to take control of these like mainstream. I mean, podcasts aren't completely mainstream, especially in like the golf world.
No,
but
but
this is a huge step. So shout out to Rick, crush it, my man.
Yeah, and listen, you were inside the ropes a time or two last year. You say people know who people in this community are. I have people reach out to me saying, they know.
They know.
Some of them are watching.
Right.
Someone whose dad's got 2 major championships lets me know that they're watching. They're cracking jokes.
Now I gotta think.
You should know. Well, it's funny because I actually saw this.
Sean McKeel Jr. No, he only has one. Not Dustin Johnson's son, because he only has one.
No, I actually don't want to say.
You don't need
too
to
much.
say.
No, not even the name, but not even.
There's not
the whole father-son golf tournament. I saw this guy rolling in putts.
Nice. All right.
The PNC Father Challenge? Or was that the thing the stupid Greg Norman won? The Templeton. That's not the Templeton anymore.
The QBC shootout?
Oh, yeah.
Is that what you're thinking of?
It's all a blur now.
All right. Let's talk about golf this week. Century Tournament of Champions 34-man field. A lot of players just decided not to show. No Tiger, no Phil, no Shane Lowry, no Brooks. The immortal CT Pan has decided to take a pass.
That was a weird
on
one,
those
right?
free FedEx Cup points and the free paycheck. Also, there's no Justin Rose. Those are the guys that are qualified yet aren't going to be in Hawaii at Kapalua. The plantation course has been updated, apparently. Dustin Johnson was talking about it. I read some stuff on it. It appears like they've flattened out some parts of the greens. Like, these greens are so big. Like, this course is huge. It's a par 73 for one thing. It's now just playing a shade under 7,600 yards. The fairways, I wrote in my column this week up on dkplaybook.com that they're wide enough to fit 86 Dallas Cowboys stadiums on each of them. Now, that might be hyperbole. I don't know. But it really benefits those who can kind of spray the ball around. But the greens were just as big. So a stat like greens in regulation really does you no good. At this, like, whoa, he's hitting 90% of his greens in regulation.
40 feet for birdie.
Yeah, he's
always.
114 feet away. So, like, you got to watch out for lag putting here. But they flattened, like, some of the green, like, half the green would be, like, completely sloped, where if you hit it, it would just roll off. So you couldn't use that part for any pin placements. They flattened that out to make better use of the larger greens. So, like Dustin Johnson said, it should play more difficult, but how much more difficult is it? Unless it's super windy, this place is not going to be hard.
It's in the end at its heart. It's a resort course, but yeah, I don't know. The PGA demanded they make it a little harder, and they've tried. And apparently, as you mentioned with the greens, but if it's not windy, these guys will tear it apart like they would do any oceanside course in lame duck conditions.
And well, this one in specific, like, it gets treated very poorly. Because you have something like the Sony Open, which you don't even need to hit the fairway. Like, no one hits the fairway at Waialae next week. But the field is, like, crappy. But they don't have Dustin Johnson going there. And they don't have Patrick Cantlay and, like, a field of, like, 9 or so really good players. And when these guys get their hands on a resort course, which they don't normally go to, then they really rip it apart. So I think it's a bit unfair to say this is a super easy course. It is easy. But I don't think it's, like, significally easier than any of the other, like, if you put all these guys at the OHL Mayakoba, they probably tear that apart.
These guys,
too.
yeah, you send these guys to the Sanderson, they are gonna crush it.
Yeah. So the only other thing that seems to have changed, that they've changed some of the landing areas. Like the biggest comment that stuck out to me from what Dustin said was there's a few of the holes, and it's not all of them, but they put it like different landing areas in for the drive. So they've changed it from complete fairway to putting bunkers in and stuff like that. That he can't just pull out his driver, hit it as far as he can, and then chip it onto the green and have a birdie putt. Sometimes he does have to lay back. But unless that is completely changed from the rest of the course, like there's a bunch of short par fours, which is still going to be a wedge fest. Like it's at elevation, there's a lot of slopes. If anyone played like Tiger Woods 03, then they'll know this course pretty well, that like you can hit the par 5 where if you hit the hill, it'll just keep on rolling. A lot of wedges at this course. That's why you've seen guys like Stricker and Zach Johnson and Spieth and Reed do really well at this course.
Ogilvy.
Yeah, like
three times.
The corollaries that I've always made, like, because of the elevation shifts, there's a lot of uneven lies. Now, maybe they flatten some of those out too, but like John Deere Classic comes to mind. 4 of the past 10 winners have won the John Deere Classic as well, and like most of these guys don't even play the John Deere Classic. So that's always interesting to note.
That's crazy.
But even if you go look at guys that have performed, the shorter hitters that perform well at the Masters tend to perform well at the John Deere Classic as well. Just you have those uneven lies all the time with these wedge shots. So it's just a little bit different and something to look into. I wouldn't know. Like last year, I think I ended up betting on like Michael Kim at 750 to 1. Turns out he's just not good. So just because you win the John Deere Classic doesn't mean anything. But it is a bit of a corollary that I've seen. Pebble Beach and Riviera are another two that I would kind of look at just because of the different types of approach shots that match up with this one. Bermuda Greens, like I said, par 73. I always forget about that. It's weird. Par 73. Xander shot 11 under in the final round last year to beat your guy, Gary Woodland, and lose you that bet.
I ripped it from him, yeah. It's okay. Gary made good.
I'm sure you're back in on Gary this time around.
I was out of the gate, Gary. One of the books that I use posted odds, one of the first out of the gate, posted them up in a conversation with the aforementioned Wiley. And out of the gate, Gary Woodland, 18. Rocking my Gary Woodland Sunday Pebble Beach best. Oceanside on the Pacific. Let's go, Gary.
The only other thing that I'll say is that I looked into the wind. I have the link in my column to the wind finder. So you should maybe want to track this day to day. Just see what's coming up. Maybe it's not a big enough field to get like a wave advantage, but just to see what the course has in store. Because if it's just going to be calm conditions, the guys that bomb and make birdies all the time are going to do that. If it's super windy, it might change the story a little bit and allow more guys in this field to have a chance of coming in. Because as historically we've seen, the good players win this event.
How many guys are here? 36? 38?
34.
There's about 10 to 12 that can win. I don't mean to be the Brooks Koepka and lipstick 80% of this field off, but yeah.
Well, I even talked about it like when I said like the Masters is a corollary. Like just because of some of the lies and guys that have done well at both courses over time, but also you see a thing here where debutantes don't do well. I think since 2004, there's been like 5 guys in their first appearance who've ever come inside the top 10. And the Kenny Kim Jude corollary with the Hero World Challenge. If you came inside the top 5 of the Hero World Challenge a month ago, since 2002 or 2004, 2012 or 2014. I forget which one it is. It's in my column.
Yeah.
Now I forget it off the top of my head. Every single one of those people that's come inside the top 5 and played this event has come at least inside the top 10 of this event, and three of them have won. So I'd look into that. And most of the winners have come like in the past years, like the past 5 years, like 14 to 1, 16 to 1, 20 to 1. Spieth won at like 5 to 1 one year, but he's the only like overwhelming favorite that's actually taking home the trophy. I know when Dustin won, I believe he was 9 to 1, which he is this year. So it's interesting. The guy who is like the overwhelming favorite generally does not win. In the year that Dustin won, there was like 5 co-favorites because like Rory was there, and there wasn't like one guy who was super ahead of the pack. But it's generally those like mid-teen numbers, like the 6th or 7th best guy in the field ends up winning, coming into that season. At least that's what I've noticed.
And guys that seem to, you've kind of alluded to it in many forms, whether it be the course type, but guys that have played well here in the past seem to continue to play well here. Like Dustin never seems to finish outside the top 6 or something.
Yeah. Like everyone has like their one-off year. Like Thomas had a bad year 2 years ago. He won, had the bad year, and then he was like 3rd last year or something like that. So it's not that big of a deal. The only other thing, what was I going to say? Totally. Oh, next week, Sony Open, just so I don't forget, this gets lodged in people's minds. If you're going to bet anyone at the Sony Open next week, make sure that they played in this event this week. That's all I'll say. I think it's like 7 in a row have come off the Tournament of Champions and won at the Sony Open next week. Like even Kuchar, who was a disaster at this tournament last year, just because he played in it, gave him, I guess, the edge. He got the reps in on Hawaii time.
What would a Corey Connors or a Matthew Wolf's odds be next week?
I don't know. I'm going to say like 28 or 30. Like those are the
so
guys.
So who's the favorite next week?
I don't know who's playing. Like Justin Thomas probably plays.
It'd be like 5 to 1.
Yeah.
8 to 1.
And then you fade him and hope he doesn't run away with it like he did that one year when he opened with the 59. And then all of a sudden you got some odds.
I mean, yes, it's so, I don't want to say easy to score there, but I don't know. It seems like anybody can just train that place.
Well, you want to see who's played well at OHL Mayakoba in the year before. I think it's 2 years in a row. Kazire won both and Kuchar won both last year. So Brendan Todd season at the Sony.
Would you say the entire back half of the odds list is going to be there next week?
I would think so, yeah. There might be a few that take it off. I would actually look out for next week, just early guys to add to the list. Poston does a lot for me. Maybe Keith Mitchell. So I like Keith Mitchell this week. He's not going to win, but like we have him on Bermuda. We have him in a place where he can take advantage off the tee. I bet Keith Mitchell as first round leader in full disclosure, like 50-1 or something like that. It's supposed to be calm on Thursday, just in good scoring conditions. Remember Tway led after the first round last year? Like, oh my God, how do we not see Tway coming? It's got to be Tway. He came like 13th or something.
I don't remember that, but yeah, back on his surface. It might be Keith Mitchell's season. Correct me if I am wrong. And he was my pick to win Player of the Year last year, and I know that's part of what you want people to comment. And I'm going to go back to that well on.
So you're
John
taking
Rahm
Rahm again?
No. Well, to win Player of the Year.
Yeah.
I'm not taking him this week. I figured I was a year early when I made the pick last week. He got in here because he won the Zurich, right? Did he win on the PGA Tour? Or am I just completely whiffing?
I think that was his only win. Did he win Career Builder or something? No, Adam
No,
Long.
that was 2 years ago.
Yeah, Adam Long won that.
Career Builder. Yeah, with the first Phil and Hadwin.
Did Rahm only have 3 wins this year? He won the Irish. He won...
Something really late, like, and got $2 million for it. And I'm not...
he won the European Championship. The DB World Championship, whatever it is. And
then he lost on the Sunday of the European Players to Willett. He lost the American Players late on Sunday. But I'm all in. I'm all in on everything. Well, and that great piece out today just makes you love the guy more.
Was that on Golf Digest?
Yeah, and anyone that, I don't know, all the tape shows, always been all in and can't wait. And not everybody is Jordan Spieth and is just going to win like...
Well, Jordan Spieth, not going to win this event.
No, but I just mean there's a maturation process to everybody. And because a couple young guys win right away, everyone sort of who doesn't is deemed not great or incapable. Well, and that always bothered me. With golf especially, and I don't know, it's sort of this thing with quarterbacks now, but that's a whole different conversation.
Well, I think it's funny that people give Rahm so much heat for not... I guess it's because he visibly melts down at times, like at himself, like just gets super mad. But like no one gives Cantlay heat. No one gives Xander heat for not winning majors. They're like all the same age.
And they all say, oh, they're going to win them. Just like, and Rahm is,
Rahm's what, 24?
Yeah,
25 now?
Maybe he's turning 25 in the calendar year ahead. But yeah, 24 years old. How would you have been at 22 on the golf course when the world's your oyster? And then the fact that he would acknowledge his problem and acknowledge that he's working on his problem and, admitting that at such a young age, let's go. Like it's all, once it happens, like it's a floodgate race to me between him and Thomas. And that's what makes sort of the grander picture of everything we're going to discuss over the year so exciting. Because Tiger's involved, like everything and all the young kids, and I can't wait. I know it's hyperbole, but has golf been set up to be this exciting, like since we've gotten together? And maybe it's all because of Tiger, but it's in such a great place.
The Tiger element just adds everything in, because all we ever talked about for years was how would Tiger stack up against these guys?
Yeah, and then
we're not getting peak Tiger anymore. No. We get peak Tiger. We're not. You think that?
Not peak, but I mean like moments, like twice a year.
Twice a year we're going to get peak Tiger.
Yeah.
But he's going to try to peak for the Masters. He's going to try. I think he's just going to punt the PGA Championship every year. I don't think he gives a shit.
Sure.
I think he wants...
especially if they're going to stack the schedule, he has to make a sacrificial lamb, unless it's a course that he absolutely loves, maybe. You could be on to something.
So you peak for the Masters, you peak for the U.S. or British Open. Like, he just doesn't have... Like, he talked about it at the President's Cup. Like, one of the... He did say that, like, I sat myself out to give my team confidence. He was also, like, hurt.
Yeah, sure.
The guy struggles to play like a bunch of golf all at once. So I was surprised he went so deep into match play last year before losing to Beauregard. But anyway, let's talk about this tournament. The odds for the tournament. Jon Rahm is the favorite. He's 4-1. Justin Thomas 5-1. Xander, the defending champ, 7.5-1. DJ's won this twice. He's 9-1. Cantlay 11. Ricky 16. Reed and Woodland 14. Casey 20. And Colin Morikawa is 22-1. Morikawa up there with the favorites. I think that's a bit too high for a guy who's never played this course.
Why would he get that much love? I mean, I get the hype, but again, why is Wolf drop a 60? He drops the 22. Is it that big? Even with Neiman at a 50.
Well, it's funny you say that. Only because I do a thing with Golf Digest.
Has he won some college tournaments? Here or
No,
something?
just because of the thing with that I do in Golf Digest, we talk about our fade of the week. My fade at his price of the week is Colin Morikawa, and the point that I made was, what is really the difference between him and Wolf? Like, Wolf is a bit more inconsistent.
Yeah.
And Morikawa's irons are better.
But their
than
win
Wolf's.
equity is probably
Probably about the same, but you get one guy at 3 times the price. Like, why wouldn't you just, if you wanted to bet one of them who's a first timer, neither of them are probably going to win, why wouldn't you bet the guy who's 3 times the price?
Yeah, I don't even understand even him being half of what a Matt Kuchar is. A little weird to me, but hey.
Hey, you're rare. Got a fade.
I want to say all year, at least early on, Pat, I'm going to be looking at, like, they want to love these Victor and Colin, and we do. But you want to throw me like Neiman's at double and double more all year, I will be there. I will be there.
I don't like Neiman on not bent grass.
Sure, I'm not, like, when the situation calls itself, I'm not ready to jump in this week because I'm afraid of this field. But when it's those lesser fields and those guys are at the top and I'm telling you, I'll be hawking that. I'll be hawking the disrespect because I agree with you. The win equity isn't different to me. Put And we've been wrong. I mean, we sat here the first times we did a show saying, like, why is Jordan Spieth 16 and Patrick Reed's like 90? Like, that makes no sense to us.
And then he won like 20 times. So, yeah. Get used to it. If you're new to the show, we're wrong a lot. Yeah. So, it's not going to stop us from having hot takes. The other one down there was, I completely forget now. Anyway,
we're talking in the top 20?
Back to the top. Of the top 10 guys. No, Wolf has a chance to go out. Remember when Dustin and Rahm absolutely annihilated this course 2 years ago off the tee? Like, that was atypical with the way that people win this tournament. But Wolf could do that here.
Yeah.
Is the entire thing. I don't know if Morikawa can win, obviously. But if you have like that like outlier performance, that outlier skill, Wolf has that. And he putts pretty well on Bermuda as well. Same as Cameron Champ. Cameron Champ's sneaky. But back to the top. Of the 4 guys less than 10-1, Rahm, Thomas, Xander, and Dustin. I have a feeling you're going Dustin Johnson. If I had to bet, I would. I'm going to make bets. I'm not going to bet on any of these 4 guys, but Justin Thomas would clearly be my bet.
Dustin Johnson, I've seen it a little higher in some places, just a tick around 10-1. Of those 4, 100% be my bet.
Because he's won here twice.
Won here twice. He seems to be talking very positively about the changes. He had a bit of a layoff. The President's Cup found his footing late as that week went on. He's in a comfort zone here. He always seems to play well where he plays well. A lot of people want to sort of just glaze over him because of his underachieving in big events. But as a lot of the numbers show, after Rory, probably the second best golfer of the decade that we just finished, and I don't think he's going anywhere. I'm going to take him potentially to win this thing.
It's a great number, whether it's 9, whether it's 10, because he's going to have the same number against harder fields than this, like 3 months from now. Like if you go look at his Masters odds are like 12-1, and everyone who's good is there.
Or even
here,
when we go,
you got to beat like 9 guys.
Even when we go to Riviera or something in a month, he'll be what 10-1, 12-1. I mean 14 if he's just.
I don't know if he's going to play Riviera. Isn't he overseas?
He does do that. So Pebble's a sweetheart course
unless
for him,
Ted Potter.
He always played
down.
Riviera, didn't he?
He usually does, yeah. But I always forget who plays overseas and who doesn't. I just remember he played in Saudi Arabia last year. I recall that.
He did.
He took some heat for it, but they're like, hey, why don't you come back? We'll give you $10 million this time. He's like, sure.
Here's the thing. Dustin is always the safest bet to do these things because in the moment he'll take a little heat, but he goes to these places and he never opens his mouth and he doesn't act out. So when the event's over, it's like everyone Bryson like praising the great leadership of the communities, or Sergio breaking things that no longer on TV. You know, Sergio's got to go back for free.
He's serious?
This year.
Or was he going to be beheaded if he didn't?
He wasn't. People were like, he wasn't suspended. Nothing happened. What happened? How did this happen? Like, how did no one act on this? Well, the act came, and Sergio has to bend the knee to the kingdom. He can come first place and win the $1.5 million or whatever they'll pay first place. But his appearance fee of $500,000, free. Showing up for free after what he did last year. That was the deal. Lose your hand or come back for free, friend.
tough to play golf with only one hand, at least at an elite level.
Yeah. So I bet you he'll be very well behaved.
Yeah, you probably won't hear much from Sergio.
Yeah, or I
this
don't
time
think he's
around.
got. What did it was in a bunker? He just
Yeah,
beat
he
the
starts
shit out of it or
he
something.
starts smashing his clubs. He's pissed. I love it. Love Sergio.
It was just brought sand from the local beach. It's not his sand.
So Justin Thomas would be I'm still considering betting because I actually don't have a wager in outside of that first round leader bet. This other range suits me a bit more, I think. So we have Cantley at 11, Woodland Reed at 14, Fowler 16, Casey and Morikawa at 20 and 22. I'm going to bet Patrick Reed 100%. Came inside the top 5 at the Hero.
All right.
That's always a good sign. I like the way that he kind of put the foot down on CT Pan on the last day of the President's Cup.
I'm not going to watch this then.
It's a great way to for him to kind of get out of it a little bit, and just I'll talk about it more on the DraftKings show, but it's a great time to use Patrick Reed on DraftKings because everyone's just off Patrick Reed, but he's actually kind of playing well, and he's won here before. These wide fairways really allow him to spray it off the tee, the one spot, and you're gonna know with Patrick Reed basically after 5 minutes. It's going to be a tournament where he plays well or plays poorly. And I think at a 14-1 shot in a field like this, like he can go head-to-head with the big boys. He's won here before. If his irons are hot, his just wedges are hot, he's fine.
I want to jump right on board with you because I swear in all those shows are out of the gate with the controversies. Like, you got to auto bet this guy for his first 4 to 6 starts.
Yeah, they don't want to take him on the Ryder Cup. He needs to play his way onto the team.
Play his way on. Oh, my God. It'll be so good. 2 wins. 2 wins will get you on, right? Or no?
It should.
Bubba got, what was that? Bubba had 3 wins?
Bubba had 3 wins.
3 wins. And one of them was a match play.
He won the match play, he won the Travelers, and he won Riviera that year. Yeah, he was on the team. He was not good.
That'll get you on. Yeah, Reed 14-1. I saw it open at a 16. I don't know why I didn't bite. I don't think it can get lower than 14. With the big names that are here, I don't mind it.
And it's not only that there's the big names here, there's also the fact that no one wants to bet on Patrick Reed. So what are you going to make his odds?
Somebody bet him.
What are you going to put his odds at 8-1? And people were like, no thanks.
Somebody bet him. Yeah, no, this is the range that I do like. Always a sucker to stare at Fowler.
I
actually don't think it's a bad spot for him.
I actually have interest in Ricky Fowler here.
I don't think it's a bad spot for him at all. Thought he played that event before the President's Cup, kind of lollygagged it, or was he sick and he bailed from it?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
I think he really came through on the final day of the President's Cup. Like they put him in some high leverage situations, played pretty well. After not,
wasn't he in like that weird ending match that didn't mean anything? Him and Leishman, that was kind of embarrassing.
I thought he was playing well. Oh yeah, then he started missing putts.
Yeah, that was a weird sort of ending, but I think it was over.
The tournament had already been clinched, but he came out of the gate hot in that singles match. But either way, he wasn't on the team. He got put on the team. He played pretty well. He's going to get the juices flowing a little bit. I actually kind of like him at 16-1. I prefer him over Woodland.
I like this, though. Those 3 players would be the guys I would look to bet. It's a small field, so I'm not going to bet all of them. And then to make a 4th there, Pat, at a number that I'm even seeing is at 22 or 25 would be Paul Casey.
Paul Casey, statistically, if you look on fantasynational.com by my power rankings, Justin Thomas, number 1. Justin Thomas, the models, they love them some Justin Thomas. Basically any week at any course that you go to, no matter what the stats are that you customize with, it's going to like Justin Thomas. Yeah. For me, Paul Casey, number 2.
I want to talk big picture, Paul, here for a second.
How about this? The last at least 7 winners of this event have been American.
I don't know. Is that a thing?
It seems to be a thing.
I mean, sure. I don't know. They overwhelm the world winners circle on the PGA Tour. Do they not?
They do.
So I don't know. That's something I'm not reading into. I think Paul Casey is going to win the biggest man trophy of his life this year. I don't know what it'll be, though.
Well, if that's the case, I mean, he could win like Riviera.
Okay, I understand that. He's going to crash a party. He is going to crash a party.
I hope so. I like Paul. And time's running out for Paul Casey.
And I think his game sets up for the Masters and sets up for Harding Park. His game should be a U.S. Open type course. I just don't know where I'm calling my shot, but I'm calling my big shot with Paul Casey. But for this week, if I was turned off of anything under 20-1, Paul Casey be my guy. Be my guy. I wouldn't be afraid to step in front of that. And books that are available to people who like us, you could find it. You could find it if you shop it.
So rest. Any love for Cantley at 11?
No.
He's fine.
I'd rather bet Dustin at 9 or 10.
Yeah.
I'm
with you on that, and I'd rather take the guys that are a bit cheaper. I'm thinking about going in on Fowler at 16, though. I never bet Ricky. I even missed out when everyone went on Ricky last year at Phoenix. But the rest of the board, as we look at it, what?
He'll be a part of the rest.
Okay, so you got Kuchar, Cameron Champ, Brendan Todd, Neiman, Wolf, Connors, Kisner, Shez, Reavy, Poston, Fratelli. That's your 35 to 70 range. The only guys that really do anything for me here, Kuchar does do something for me.
It's a big number.
It's big enough for him.
It's a big number in a small field where he can catch his 62s
So
and just...
I believe 7 of the past 9 or 7 of the past 8 winners have been inside the top 25 of the official world golf rankings. Kuchar, number 24, so he would still qualify for that. Brendan Todd's the best player in the world, so that's tough to overlook. Like, should he be... Like, why is Morikawa 22 and Brendan Todd is 35?
Listen, there are still bigger 40s and 45s.
Like, should we be betting Brendan Todd?
I've been thinking about it. Would
you rather bet Kuchar or Todd? Based on these numbers, 35 and 40.
Put it this way. When I said off the top that I think there's only 10 to 12 guys that can actually win this thing, Brendan Todd was one of them and Morikawa wasn't, in my opinion. If, just eliminating one by one who can win. I don't know, man. The Todd father, I don't know. Does this spill into 2020?
We'll see.
He has the type of game... Tell me if I'm wrong. Like,
he almost just went back to back to back.
And
then he almost won the partner event too.
Oh yeah, the QBE?
I think he was second or third at that.
He has this very smooth, easy game. Am I crazy to say he reminds me of Webb Simpson?
I think he's worse Webb Simpson.
Sure. Well, yeah, I don't mean as good.
People vastly underrate how good around the greens Webb is. And Todd's fine, but he's not.
I'm actually listen, we forget in the blur of last year, Webb Simpson, I think, finished second place for 5 straight, for 5 out of 8 events.
Yeah, but he didn't win because he's not here.
No, he's not.
So
Cameron Champ, if this was if he was just sneaking in here against not such a big field, the way the course is set up, could be into that.
He finished just outside the top 10 last year at his debut. He didn't play well in 2019 until he finally won an event.
But I'd rather bet Todd and Kuchar if I'm actually in this range.
So last time Todd played this tournament was 2015. His first appearance, came 8th, gained almost 8 strokes on approach that week. No strokes putting, lost strokes off the tee, gained none around the green, still came 8th. It's not bad. I think I might bet Brendan Todd. What am I doing? Why am I betting Brendan Todd? Why didn't I bet him at the 2 events that he fucking won? And now I'm sitting here being like, you know what? Brendan Todd against Dustin Johnson is the guy that I want. Yeah, that seems off to me. If I can find the 40, I might bet it. I kind of want to bet Kuchar, but we'll see about that. Because other than that, looking down the list, all these guys that we talk about, the Fratellis and the Kangs, and the Keith Mitchells, those sorts of guys. I don't even trust. I'm saving those for the DraftKings show. I'm not betting them.
I don't even trust them to each way. Wouldn't even know who. I don't want your suggestion of Mitchell at the first round leader. That's fine. I'd rather have a conversation of who's the biggest surprise that didn't qualify here. Bryson has to be Bryson.
Bryson Spieth or Webb Simpson, I would say. Yeah, because Webb had a really good year. You just forget.
Here's the question: next year, will Finau be here?
Okay, let's have this. You won our Tiger versus Spieth bet last year. You want to have a Finau versus Spieth bet?
I don't want to. I came in not wanting to pick on Jordan because I'm kind of.
I'm going to pick on Tony. You can pick on Jordan.
Okay, fine. Let's.
I think that Spieth will be at this tournament next year. I do not think that Finau will. I hope that Tony is. I like Tony Finau. I just don't think he's going to win.
Part of me thinks I'm getting suckered in if I do this because I do think I would not make a Spieth. Won't win in 2020. I will not. Call me crazy. I was making Jameis Winston, Jordan Spieth comps the other day. Just in that, like, the ceiling, and I know Jordan's won 3 majors, so we know his ceiling, but the birdies are the touchdowns, and we got to just clean up the ugly, and maybe it could be all the awesome. Or just get rid of, like, 20% of the ugly, and Jordan can hang. And Jameis just needs to get rid of, like, 8 of those interceptions. But the Bucs can't let that guy go. I know it's the wrong show. I don't want to pick on Jordan.
I don't want to.
I
don't want to rehash the Jordan thing either. But it just reminds me so much of Phil from a few years ago that you turn those triple bogeys into pars, and all of a sudden you're winning again.
Pars.
Yeah, like you don't need to be making eagle on every hole. Just stop. Ricky suffers the same fate as well. Like stop making huge numbers, and you're fine.
Yeah, the total birdies are there, and. Oh my God, we're not rehashing it, but hearing his comments from not making the President's Cup, like he was gonna cry. Like it would actually hurt me to read, Pat, and I think he is going to play everything and everywhere this year.
He should.
Like he stares at that world ranking and it repulses him as much as it allows, as much as some other people giggle at it.
It should. Like you said, he won 3 majors. He's like 26.
Yeah, we're on the precipice of being outside the top 50 in the world. We are a bad run, Pat, from, I mean, everything good. The world rankings works, I think, in a 2-year window. So you have to think of the results that are now filling what makes his ranking. And it's tumbling. It's tumbling.
So over the one other thing, the course was lengthened just a little bit. So we lost one of the shorter par. I believe it's hole number 7. It was lengthened by like 40 yards. So there's now just 4 par 4s that measure between 300 and 400 yards. But there's 4 super short ones. So past 24 rounds per Fantasy National, the top 5 in the field for this event on holes from that length over the past 24 rounds. So the recent past: Casey, Na, JT Poston, Lonto, and Ryan Palmer. Now, a lot of guys haven't played. Some of those stats are probably from like August. Let's just look long-term to see who has more of a baseline of playing those holes well. Kevin Na, Gary Woodland, Justin Thomas, Patrick Cantlay, Xander Schauffele. So it's probably where I should be investing my money, and I've decided to take none of them. So that makes me feel very poor. Very poor about that, Jeff. Where's your boy Dustin Johnson?
You said him, didn't you say?
Did I say Dustin?
Yeah.
No. Dustin is 19th in the field over the past 100 rounds from that. He's behind Sung Kang.
He wins in spite of that.
I guess so. He wins by gaining all of his strokes off the tee. And he's been putting really well. So that helps. Slow greens at Kapalua as well. Those could be a bit faster this time around. Could be wind influenced if the wind really does pick up, but generally speaking, they're very slow.
Well, they tee off in order of standings after the first round. They have 2 rounds.
No idea. Imagine thinking I care about that.
Well, did you see these Kevin Kisner comments?
How he hates Patrick Reed?
He's like, I don't really hate him, but I know people that wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire. That's sort of what I read into it. You talk to some of those Georgia guys I know, they wouldn't piss on him.
I mean, most of those Georgia guys haven't won the Masters.
Harris English hasn't won the Masters?
I know. Maybe he can win the Sony Open next week. That'd be fine.
Maybe
I'll probably bet him, although I shouldn't because he did not playing here. But I will bet him. I'll be like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. So someone please remind me about this.
Harris English next week?
Yeah, don't bet him. He didn't play this week. Bet him to be like top 5 or something. Play him on DraftKings.
Oh my God. I listened. I rode the wave. It almost got willed in the swing season.
At the OHL.
English victory that everyone was on. There's nothing the books could do. They dropped it as low as possible for Harris English.
And everyone still kept hitting it.
And he
almost got there.
There was a moment or two.
It was just like all my Zang bets from the swing season.
Who won that one in the end?
Todd.
Oh, of course. Of course. Sportsman of the year.
I was trying to think back to the swing season of who won. I was like, I think Brendan Todd won all 8 tournaments.
Yeah, it was Todd, Munoz, and Neiman.
Lonto. Justin Thomas, we forget one. Tiger won.
Zozo was better than that.
What?
They got their money's worth. I just mean that was like a no-cut, like elite PGA field.
Yeah, it was like the CJ Cup that Justin Thomas won.
Guys played in that and then didn't play in a WGC the next week because they were greased so hard.
Good.
To just do Zozo.
I like that Zozo tournament. It was all right. Tiger won. Anything that Tiger wins, I'm in on.
Like what? Zozo got their money's worth.
Yeah.
You sponsor a tournament that Tiger wins.
People watch. And it was on like it was like it's like a primetime football game.
Well, this will
where
be
it's
great
on
too.
against. Yeah, but no one really cares.
We'll be what,
And
8 at night? What are we watching?
No, it starts at 3 p.m. All the rounds. So it's going to go up against football on Saturday, and then most of the round will actually, like the first half of the round will go up against football on Sunday. Not great for ratings.
They're used to it. Listen, I'm about seeing these games, making my buddies check the golf while we're watching football.
Not bad. Shez Reavy, interesting. Again, that's all DraftKings
No, but I don't-
stuff.
I don't
It's like
have
Corey
it.
Connors, interesting. Again, that's all DraftKings stuff. But all right, let's talk about the bets. So I'm gonna go for sure Patrick Reed 14-1.
Does anyone want to buy my Woodland bet?
Why? Gary's a fine play. You just want to bet Patrick Reed too.
I am betting Patrick Reed.
So I only have Reed.
Reminded my anytime Reed bets for a month out of the President's Cup.
So Reed 14-1. Should I go big bet on Justin Thomas at 5-1, or just bet Ricky Fowler at 16 and have some fun with this tournament? I'm gonna go Fowler.
I don't even
Screw it.
know what you do with a 5-1.
Yeah, it's tough. You have to bet so much.
Like, yeah, there's like even a nut. I'd rather just bet that big bet like on a football game that's 50-50.
Yeah.
I'd rather just take my chance with a 3-point bowl game spread or a wild card game.
Bet passing yards over Buffalo Bills against the Texans.
All right. I'm
So I'm going to go Fowler 16-1, Reed 14-1. I have Keith Mitchell 45-1 as first round leader. I might add another first round leader, but these aren't the sort of tournaments that I like.
okay.
For betting, at least.
Something happened. I really thought I would be able to pull the trigger on Dustin. I just don't want to do it. And then I'm going to
So
spend.
he's definitely going to win now.
I'm going to spend a little more and bet Reed and Fowler to go with Woodland. Because I was on Reed, but then if you're going to bet Fowler, I can't watch that. I can't watch that. So Woodland 18, Fowler 16, Reed 14. It feels like I'm betting like first touchdown at the Super Bowl.
Well, that's basically what this tournament is.
You're right. You're right. Because I took the 12 guys that can't. I said 12 guys can win, and then I'm canceling off the 5 that are under 12-1, and then I'm taking off the couple over 20-1. Although I don't mind Paul Casey, but I can't bet it.
I might end up on one of Kuchar or Todd. So check my
not.
Facebook page on Wednesday evening, and I'll have who I ended up fully betting. But those two for sure: Reed, Fowler, Keith, first round leader. And I'll do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Geoff Fienberg.
Yeah,
We're
Woodland,
back. We get a real tournament next week.
Fowler, Woodland, and Reed. And let me just ask you this question: because if you were in a one and done that was this week, would you be a strategy guy to like just burn someone, or would you?
I would burn one of the top 10 guys.
When you try to take, you said like even Patrick Reed.
Yeah, Patrick Reed.
Stank on Reed right now. Let everyone.
The money all counts the same.
Yeah, all counts the same.
Winning the Masters is not even. Maybe it is double what first. I don't think it is double what first place is here, but you're playing,
Maybe not here, but at some places it could.
But like
be
it's
double.
over $1 million for a win.
Yeah.
Like if you want to use Dustin Johnson, he's won here twice. But I'm saving Dustin Johnson for Riviera, where it's a better field, it's a larger field, and I think pays less.
And he can miss the cut.
Yeah, like just get your money.
At least like the Masters, there's only like 50 guys, and Dustin always comes second.
Doesn't always come second. He almost came first last year for me.
Almost.
I'll give up the money because Tiger won.
Okay, people have been replaying the Masters a lot, and it's been great. And just seeing Dustin like lip out on 17, I was thinking about you. I love Dustin, but I know you had that bet. I was like, oh, maybe it was 18, but there was one lip out late.
It was 17. He putted from the bottom of the
Yeah,
hole
it was
and
right
came
up the hill.
And he was making everything. Because all week he hit like 100% of greens of regulation, but he was like 45 feet from the hole every single time. Two putt par, birdie the par fives, go along your way. And then it finally started to click on the back nine Sunday. He started creeping up and creeping up and creeping up. It's like, makes this one putt. He's like golden here. And then it would have like cranked up the heat on Tiger to hit a good drive on 18.
He couldn't have just, he got to take a little extra. But I don't know. Happy New Year. Happy to be back. It's awesome.
Golf. It's back. Back into I'm not doing 7 days a week anymore. Don't have to be live on Sunday mornings. This is very enjoyable.
And I
time.
hate football. Well, I love it, but I hate it.
You and I will be back with Cuss for the football show on on Thursday, Rick on Wednesday, and then, yes, to be named later on Friday to break down the DraftKings slate. Told you about the Listeners League, the other shows, Fantasy National, the Gups Corner, all those things. Go check them out. If you forgot what they were and what the giveaways are, just rewind to the beginning of the episode, and you should be pretty good with that. I'll hit you up one more time. The $100 giveaway. Subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast. Leave a 5-star review, DraftKings handle, something you like about the show. Tell people about the golf show. We're just here. We're talking golf. We're having fun. Maybe we can hit a winner or two. Jeff had a good year last year. Me, not so hot. Looking to rebound this time around. All right? And that's what I'm going to use Fantasy National for. Really rely on the numbers that it spits out to me instead of like looking at them and be like, hey, that makes a lot of sense, and just doing the exact opposite, which is what I normally do. Shouldn't do that. Should probably actually listen. So become a member at fantasynational.com. Right now, get yourself ready for the season. I'm Pat Mayo. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!